Blueprints is a game like no other. If someone is to finish this game and ask for recommendations, a lot of different puzzle games comes to mind, but I would say none of them even come close to the type of experience Blueprints offers. At the start of my journey as a game reviewer, I did not know I would come across a game that was so difficult to review and get across my views on. So, it is my try at one of the best puzzle games I have ever played, a game that I had countless difficulties and frustrations with, and were dumbfounded at how great it was at times. A love project developed for 8 years, a flawed masterpiece in game design. Before we get into the intricacies of the game mechanics, let's talk about the story. The story follows our main character, Simon P. Jones, following through his great uncle's challenge that was in his will. The same will that our character was promised his great uncle's title and his estate, the Mount Holy Estate. The great uncle in question has created a puzzle in his estate, which has 45 rooms ever changing positions, and has challenged our main character to reach room 46. The premise and our main goal are simple, everything else is anything but. I will not get into the story much, which is slowly fed to us through notes, diaries, and miscellaneous things we find through our time exploring different rooms. There are constant undertones that run through the playtime. There are political undertones in the fictional country we are in that our main character is presumably aware of, but we are fed information about the world we are in through bits here and there. There are many characters that once inhabited the estate who are no longer there, and every single one has a story and life to tell through different writings, but also through environmental storytelling in the rooms. While the main objective is finding the 46th room, there are constantly more mysteries like the disappearance of Miriam Marigold, our protagonist's mother, a political plot spanning through years hinted by the writings of different people who worked in the estate, and so on. The plot and the story go as deep as you want it. It is mostly ignorable by the player if they only want to do puzzles, but as a more gameplay focused person, the story always itched a part of my brain, pushing me to look for clues as more questions were raised by different clues I was finding. Overall, how the story has fit into the game itself is perfect for a puzzle game of this caliber, not overbearing, but not absent either. Well, after shortly giving hints about what the story might include, I guess I cannot stall any longer. Let's talk about the game itself. The game is mostly run on a 5 to 9 grid, with the first room starting at the bottom center of this tall and thin grid. Your goal is to go to the very top and reach the antechamber at the center of the top line, the 45th room, and from there you will presumably be able to go to the 46th room, your goal and your great uncle's will. The caveat is that through your first room, every door you open will give you an option for you to choose between 3 different rooms, and when you do, the door will open and you will find the room you have chosen beyond it. On and on, you get to plan and structure the floor plan of the estate whichever way you want from the options you are given. You are given a finite number of steps, which decrease every time you change rooms, and when they run out, or you cannot draw any more rooms for one reason or another, you call it a day and start anew the next day. That's where it comes from. When you read the genre labels of this game, it says puzzle adventure. However, curiously, it also says roguelike next to that. That's where the roguelike elements come from. The layout and your options change every day, and you need to interact with the rooms, solve puzzles, do different combos based on items you find, the effects that the room you unlock gives you, and combo them with other effects, synergize different options the game gives you, and so on. The premise of gameplay is simple, execution is anything but. There are different room types like shops, red rooms that give you debuffs or bad effects, green rooms which are usually outside and are filled with greenery, hallway rooms which usually have more than one doorway to go through, and so on. The rooms with the same color usually synergize with each other. For example, one of the hallway room is the foyer, which has an effect where hallway doors are unlocked for that day. And there is also the Great Hall that has 7 locked doors. So if you draft the foyer first, then draft the Great Hall, all 7 of those doors will be unlocked. While there are a lot of 1-2 synergies like that, it can and does get a lot more complicated than that. There are rooms which you need to draft next to each other. Rooms where you need to draft at a certain place in the grid, rooms that rotate, rooms that have different number of doors depending on how many of a certain type of room is drafted that day, and so on. The main idea of a puzzle game we have been given for years is that you enter a place, a room, and there is a puzzle there for you to solve. There are many cases like that in Blueprints too, where you need to open a music box from a set of 3 with only one having gems in it. One of us is lying, one of us is telling the truth kind of logic puzzle. There are shape-based puzzles, word games, math-based puzzles. You will definitely need a notebook for this game. I will go so far as to say that while you may accidentally find the 46th room with a very lucky day where you draft all the right things and are given the right items, if you want to solve all the puzzles you come across and solve the mysteries of the estate, a notebook is basically mandatory. You will find a note in the trash bin in a room, and a small clue in that note will lead you to find the name of another character, which then will lead you to a password which you will need to unlock something. However, all of these puzzles seem familiar. We have seen these before. Here's where things get interesting. Blueprints is not a puzzle game. Blueprints is a puzzle. It is not a simulation of one, it is one. Everything is a piece of this puzzle. Even the name of the game is a small puzzle where saying blueprints sounds a lot like blueprints, which you are using to draft rooms throughout your playtime. Everything fits somewhere. The time within the game, the date of the current day you are in, your environment, and the hardest thing about blueprints is the fact that you need to realize that there is a puzzle to solve it. The puzzles are not given to you in a way where they are presented to you and you are asked to solve them. No, the puzzles are hidden in the environment, all around you. If you find numbers, names, dates, shapes, never forget to write them down, because you will need them at some point. You may walk through many rooms in the game without realizing there's a whole puzzle that spans rooms and days within them. You will feel like you're leaving things behind as you go past rooms with questions where you don't know the answers to yet. But as you take notes, explore, ponder on the different clues you are given, things slowly start to unravel. And when you solve a puzzle by looking at a proactive note you have scribbled down hours ago, your brain lights up and the enjoyment of blueprints goes up and up. You may realize you were staring at clues in the face for hours before you understood that what you were looking at were even clues. The game has a way of presenting puzzles where you are given the answer first without knowing what the question is yet. The game is incredible in these instances, where with a bit of luck on your side, you draft the correct rooms and then interacting with each other help you solve and get one step closer to understanding the world the game is set in. I said with a bit of luck on your side in the paragraph above, which is going to lead us to where I had my internal struggle with the game. The game is a roguelike, and every roguelike involves a bit of luck alongside theory crafting. I understand that. But when I already know how to solve a puzzle but still have to wait and try until I actually get the right set of rooms in the day to solve the puzzle can lead to downtime in gameplay where nothing new happens. And I'm going through motions to draft until luck smiles upon me. There are ways to up your chances, of course. You can change the rarity of rooms with items and one green room, which will lead to the room you are looking for appearing more. Or different items can help you reroll the 3 choices of rooms you are given when you click on a door to progress. But still, at the end of the day, you can skewer your chances towards yourself, but if the game is uncharitable for longer than expected, you may get frustrated with the luck, RNG based elements of the game. There were moments where I just wanted to solve a single puzzle with a simple premise without having to run around the house to find the correct rooms in correct designations, and so on. When things line up, it feels incredible. But when they don't, the opposite happens. Some puzzles can get pretty repetitive too. With complex puzzles, you need to solve them only once. But with puzzles, more traditional puzzles, like the music box logic puzzle, you solve them every day. And while the statements given are changed and they somewhat get more difficult as the days pass, the same promise of puzzle can get pretty boring after doing them a few dozen times. Everything is a puzzle. The rooms outside of the estate where you will find certain locked doors and puzzles that once solved persist to other days and may give you permanent buffs. You have 4 different item types in the game aside from the many functional special items you may find. These are coins, gems, keys, and die. Coins are used to buy things, gems are used to draft better rooms, keys are for locked doors, and die are for rerolling the draft choices you are given. These currencies can do a lot of different things based on the effects given by the rooms or actions you take. For example, one outside room you can draft daily will give you the option to use steps instead of gems to draft expensive rooms, or one room can give you the option to use gems to reroll rooms as well. The currencies can interact with each other in various ways too, depending on which rooms you find yourself in. You go through the entire game, earning permanent upgrades, which there are not many, but still are here. I might say that they are on the scarce side for a roguelike. Your permanent upgrades for you to better draft and spend your days comes from the knowledge you accumulate playing the game and understanding how everything functions more than the permanent upgrades of starting with, say, 10 coins every day, or starting with 7 steps instead of 50 every day. When you finally enter the 46th room, which you will find to be a much more difficult and complex adventure than just drafting your way through to the antechamber, the credits will roll. But as they are, puzzles are never that simple, especially in this game. The game continues, and reaching the 46th room can even be considered the end of only the Act 1 of the game, not the end by any means. I myself have not seen everything the game offers yet. There are still many locked doors, figuratively and literally, that I need to go through to understand everything the game offers, mechanics and story-wise. I have decided not to look up anything online playing this game, which led to countless frustrations and moments where I felt like the game was amazing, but I was simply too dumb to enjoy it fully. I played this game for 25 hours and have not come across a single bug. I might never have played a game as spotless in its design, writing, atmosphere, music, and overall technical aspects like bugs and optimizations like this game. Aside from the technical side, the somewhat hand-drawn, colorful style of the game exudes childhood wonder while keeping an air of seriousness. The music is in the background, filled with small melodies and drones, and can make the game foreboding, uncomfortable, dark. But it can also make it somber, hopeful, optimistic, and all of the above. Everything fits together, the art style, music, how intricately every single environmental object is placed. In terms of design, you can feel every single day of the 8 years of development this game has gone through. And you can see the love for video games and puzzles in every corner of every room. I am not saying there aren't any bugs. I'm sure people will find many ways to completely break the game as they always do. But saying that I have not encountered a single, even the smallest bug in my 25 hours of gameplay speaks volumes to how intricately the game is developed. To talk about this game is unending. I'm sure we will be watching a 10-hour video essay about the game that will go over every single puzzle and story the game has to offer in a year. But as it is a game full of mysteries for me. Some of those mysteries I was able to solve and dig deeper, and some still remain for me there, inviting me to try again, think deeper, explore more, understand everything the game wants me to understand. While I had my frustrations with it, much of it stemming from my seemingly neurological capabilities for this game's challenges, and some of it stemming from the meshing of puzzle and roguelike genres together, having the potential to lead to various problems within the playtime. The game is great, a kind of game that can easily grow a fanbase from thin air, a fanbase to pick every detail and try to understand everything the game has to offer, to the very less minute detail, as many good mysteries invite you to. Overall, Blueprint's a puzzle adventure, roguelike video game, a passion project that exudes detail from every single corner of every room, intricately designed through the visual perspective, as well as the perspective for puzzle making, where I am stopped at times on my feet to wonder how it is even possible to come up with the concepts in this game, and also flawlessly develop them to the shape they are today. From the drafting mechanics to the puzzles themselves, this is a landmark moment for video games in terms of the puzzle genre. A game that comes out every 5 or so years as a checkpoint and an ode to the human ingenuity. A game like The Return of the Obra Dinn, where the puzzle genre is taken to a completely new direction. Still familiar, but new in a way where the flames of adventure and wonder lights up much brighter as you get to experience what it has to offer. Although I had my frustrations with it, I cannot deny the level of innovation and game design Blueprints has to offer, and I expect to think of this game time and time again for years to come.